Hey, welcome to another installment of Shop Talk Tuesday. And yes, we are on the outside of the legendary I Know a Guy Bicycles garage. Why are we out here? Well, I'm demonstrating to you today in real time what bike shops are now becoming. And there's a trend of this, and it's going to continue to go do this because our state of the state is, well, really weird. And a lot of shops are closing, and there's several bike shop mechanics and old business owners or what have you are actually looking into doing just this. So yes, welcome to another Shop Talk Tuesday from Anoa Guy Bicycles, and welcome to the garage. Hopefully today's episode will give you some insights of what a garage shop is of today and how impactful it is for the cycling community around us and everything else in between. And yes, we're still here and we're still relevant. The bike shops of yesteryear, they're still struggling. And we're going to talk about that because basic standard retail, especially bicycle retail, is dead. So now we're looking at a different form of retail. What is that retail? Well, we got used market. That's one. Second, service centers. A lot of retail now is doing a whole bunch of service. As you can see, there's a huge stack of service in my shop and continuing to do so through appointment-based system that I've been doing for the last 10 years. And this, our appointment-based business, that is. In any case, I'm trying to walk backwards and talk at the same time. You know, bike mechanics trying to chew gum and walk at the same time is pretty remarkable. But in any case, thanks for hanging out with me. Welcome to the show. And got some pretty cool insights for customers that just do avid cycling to recreational cycling, or you're just starting cycling. You're welcome here, as well as bike mechanics, bike shop owners are all alike. This is a safe space. And again, welcome to Shop Talk Tuesday. And I have a little, yes, I try to sugarcoat a lot of my personality. Of course, I do not divulge all of this to the customers to freak people out. But quite honestly, don't like to sit on the sidelines, and I want to engage with my cycling community. Also try to bring a positive light to what I do, as well as a lot of people are out there trying to do. Why is retail dead? Well, the shift of the economy has shifted so drastically that new bike sales are plummeting, and the K-shaped economy has hit us hard here in the States. And in addition to, we got a lot of distractions of people losing their jobs, or eggs are way more expensive, and my God, the gas prices are absurd. Well, all those particular things have really kind of destroyed a lot of people's confidence in spending a lot of money, which has actually driven to a lot of people going to their garages, literally I'm standing in, to actually look for a bike to commute, to do the recreational riding, not just for health reasons, to be healthier mentally, physically, and everything else between, which is also really good for that. But what I'm talking about is like cutting the prices of using your vehicle for gas usage, for riding to work, riding to the clubs, whatever, coffee, restaurants, anything and everything in between. But in any case, thanks for hanging out with me in the garage here. And please add to the comments. This is a community, so feel free to jump in there. And if you're watching this on a replay, keep the conversation going with the comments below. In any case, welcome. And this is a very interesting topic. It very hits me home, and why I want to really bring this over the finish line today is a couple reasons. Been reached out by a couple of those who've been watching me on YouTube and other social medias, and they're in a pickle. Like, basically their bike shop closed, and that's where they used to work. And now they don't have an opportunity to, maybe branch out on their own or do something different. And they're really intrigued by what I've been doing. Well, without going into too much detail, exactly what I'm doing and all of that, but there's the need. There's a need for options. So to back up and to tell a little sad story. So you see the sign behind me. It's called Parker Bikes. And the Parker Bikes, we had a bike shop, started in 1987, opened up by my mom and dad. And they started to go at a bike shop in a small community in South Denver. We had this business for several years, ups and downs through the 90s, following the craze of mountain bikes to Lance Armstrong and everything in between, right? And the technological advances of that were pretty crazy cool because you got suspension, disc brakes, all sorts of cool stuff came out of the 90s. Well, unfortunately, that business failed. And that business failed for multiple reasons. And it was really hard on my parents because they lost everything, their business, their income, their home, everything. So when we're looking at the state of the state today, and not to try to be too much of a Debbie Downer, but a lot of bike shops are closing. And with that closing was or is, it's a hardship. It's a failure on your mind, and your all your efforts feels like it's lost, and leads to a lot of depression. I went through all these stages, and here I am 26 years later, coming back roaring like no other in a small garage, right? So I want to help a lot of those out there, to implore them to look outside the box, literally outside the retail box, and look at other options of how you can be a part of the cycling community, making a living of sorts, and just being a part of all of it. It is huge for a lot of people out there to take those big steps, because we do need, especially today with the service entourage of all these repairs coming, we need these people to step up and be a part of the communities that, although their shops that may have closed on them, or they've ventured off in different things like becoming PhDs, like the singer of Offspring, which, helped with the AIDS kind of research. You just never know, right? And I've worked with a lot of mechanics over the years, or engineers and all this, and talking to people recently where full circle is like they've done military and retired, and now they're working towards maybe doing a little shop themselves and supporting service and all that in their community. And one person I talked to just yesterday, over an hour or close to it, felt like more than that. Well, didn't feel too long. Anyway, their shop and their community, the people in that community have to now drive 35 minutes to an hour to get any service work done. That's a huge hole. That's a huge hole for avid cyclists and so forth. So I want to give those empowerment of doing so, and to help guide those journey, because it is a scary jump. There's one resource out there which is really huge, and it's becoming very more relevant today than it has years past, and they've been around for a long time. It's called the NBDA, National Bike Dealers Association. They're a great resource in the community, and you don't have to join right off the bat. You can still listen to their webinars and so forth, and realize you're not alone, and you may be able to get some insights to help drive your business or drive your community in cycling into a forward direction. That's huge. Having a resource like this back in the 90s, that's my sad story, as I started off with Parker Bikes. Maybe if we were involved with the NBDA or various searching different factions of that, we may have been able to maybe digged out of our hole, or had a better line of action, and maybe still be in business today. There's a woulda, coulda, shoulda in everything, and you can't live in there. You have to move forward, and you got to look forward, and you got to live your experiences going forward. But in any case, working with shops all through the years, small, big, everything in between, and got a lot of insights. And that's where you got a lot of insights from the NBDA, from a lot of old timers that just retired, but they still want to be a part of the community, still be a part of driving force of helping the independent bike dealers, however form they are, garage shop alike to mobile to the standard brick and mortar, or even the industrial park. There's an opportunity for a lot of people out there to be able to bring back that service retail, really, right? And that service retail has a place in the new market, big time, absolutely. So don't want to be the retail store where you're hundreds of square feet of retail space being a warehouse for your vendors. No more. You're basically pushing all those bikes aside to support your service department now. If you're trying to make a move of pivoting in this current market, and you're going up to lease, and you're like, well, maybe I need to downsize, or maybe I need to restructure my floor plan, or maybe even move to a different location that's more affordable, and the cost of doing business overhead is less, and do more with less and being very impactful. I'm telling you, I am one person in one business doing the YouTube, yes, and also social media. But on the other side of this is I'm doing service, I'm refurbishing parts, I'm selling frames and forks, I'm selling full bikes, I'm fitting people to the bikes as well to make sure their experiences are the best out of the gate. I'm shipping bikes across the nation. I have a lot of different hats that I wear during the course of the day. And that puts me waking up in the morning. The first thing I do is breaking into bikes. It's the last thing I'm thinking about when I go to sleep, answering those emails so the people ask the questions and what have you. So I live and breathe it, but I don't feel like I'm working overtime because I enjoy and I love what I do. But there is a line, and there's also a line that you need to figure out for yourself, for your family, and what have you, and see if it's viable for yourself to do something like this or continue that bike shop and go, well, I've beaten this to death. We keep on losing more money, and just keep doing is a true definition of insanity. So we've been there, Parker Bikes. We had to close it, and the struggles of it was very painful, and it scars me today. And that's where I have this drive and a passion, not necessarily just to help my community and people riding bikes, but also bike shop people. When I went to the NBDA conference in Las Vegas, it was one of the most impactful moments in my life. Reason being, it gave me a sense of purpose. Like, it defined where I needed to be or what I need to do, and to share those ideas. As much of you there reach up to me and go, hey, I watch you on YouTube. I'm like, whoa. That is the weirdest thing, you know, being a bike mechanic, doing my thing, and you're having that much of an impact. They listen to the words and they listen to the stories and see the stuff, and they're like, I give them a sense of you're not alone, which is my small part, right? So first off, stop being the warehouse of your suppliers. They are not there for you. They're just trying to survive, and you need to leverage that to make your business thrive, regardless if you're selling new, used, and everything else in between. But yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Well, the biggest other point I want to talk about, there's like three pillars of the current service that I'm doing right now. And yes, I'm going by a list, and we will jump in the chat in a little bit here and acknowledge everybody, but I need to just kind of get this off my chest. Then I'll sit down and we'll do a little bit of overview of things. But the first pillar is driving inventory, data driving inventory. Okay, I worked at a company called Retail Toolkit, and that was a data driving platform which plugged into your POS, very complicated, went through your inventory, gave you an algorithm for open to buy and that kind of thing. That is still out there under Workstand, I believe. It's not being leveraged as much as it should. If you're a bike shop and you already have those, portals and that kind of thing, check it out. It did work fairly well. But what's really come to light lately is, you may have seen a video of this or not. If not, watch my video on TrackFly. It's a new platform that's came out. And they don't have open to buy just yet, but it's a kind of a data-driven platform to help you identify inventory and be able to drive that forward. That is huge, because you got to have the right stuff at the right time. And this has cross-industry, data-driven algorithms in addition to cross branding, which is amazing. So if you're like, I don't carry Continental, but maybe I should carry Continental, you can get some insights there and like, okay, maybe Continental, this model may work, but this one's not, that kind of thing. Example. And I know for you, they're just, ride bikes. What's this guy talking about? What this means is hopefully this empowers the bike shop near you, independent bike shop, to be able to have the right stuff when you walk in the door. Like, I got the tire for you. And it might not be the exact make and model that you're hoping to get, but for the time being, it's there, and the price is not outrageously, and they're able to install it and do the service work. So that's where it's going to be a huge pinch going into this summer, because inventory adjustments from manufacturers have been in play for the last 9 to 12 months because of our economy being weird, to say it lightly, is now we're forced to actually make these hard decisions as a bike shop layer to make sure we have the right stuff. That is a very tricky bit to do. And going forward into the summer, where there's going to be shortages and there's going to be additional price hikes on products that are going to help your bikes keep rolling. Okay, you're thinking 15% is not too bad for a tire and so forth. But when you look at a full bike, That is astronomically absurd pricing increase. So we're in a day that a lot of people are, again, like I mentioned, are going to be driving in that service market and looking for bikes to be fixed up and all that. And TrackFly right now, as well as the Retail Toolkit at Workstand, are tools out there that can actually help you drive your business in the forward direction without overbuying and having the right stuff at the right time. The second pillar is upsell. Like, you're not upselling anything for bikes nowadays. You're mainly focusing on the traditional upsell of, let's get your bike tuned up, let's get the right parts and so forth. But you got to be very careful about that. Upselling for somebody could be kind of a turnoff. Uh, Kind of a feeling of ickiness, like, oh, I feel like I've just been told about that. Quite a case in point, I just got an email this morning from a former customer about a bike for me during the refurbishing period of my venture. And he's moved on to a different bike, but he's also been going to a bike shop near him. And that particular bike shop is a corporate store. And he feels like, the guys there are nice enough and all that, but he feels like every time he walks out, it's like he's paying so absurd amount of money. And he reached out like, hey, why is there $450 tune-up, with all the stuff stripped down and everything, and on your site it looks like about 200. Well, first thing is overhead. That's just the first flare out there is like, it's overhead. That's what it costs, that kind of thing. And secondly, I don't like to, I'm not competing their price points, but I'm competing to the service level. They also have a 24-hour turnaround time. Well, that 24-hour turnaround time can be done really well if done right, but most likely those mechanics are rushed and you don't get as good or premium quality tune-up. If you give a mechanic like myself as maybe a little bit more experience, not saying they don't have experience there, but that particular thing, well, with that particular experience and time is two factors. If you have time to work on stuff and be able to do it when you need to be done and come back to it with a little bit of research and less stress, that perspective of it, you're going to get a better tune-up done. If it's done in a 24-hour period of time, they got to get that stuff in bullet points, right? Done, 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 or there's something to pay for it. Well, that can be done, like I said, but at the end of the day, it's pretty hard to done, and to be done in retail location, that kind of thing. And big box stores are trying to doing that, and I've had more negative comments from customers than positive from that. Well, the third pillar of this is basically educating the customer what you are doing in more, I wouldn't say, lack of better words, more of a layman conversation and also visual. Don't hesitate to take pictures of an issue and send it to them. Like, this is what we're looking at. And with my experience, this can be or cannot be fixed. Case in point, I had a GRX shifter gone weird. I have a video on a short of it. And it was the weirdest, baffling thing. I even went to another shop to get a confirmation that I'm not just crazy and maybe I'm missing something. And validation of, nope, it's messed up and it's weird. And Shimano is not covering it or what have you, and that kind of thing, and all those parameters. Well, when I went to the customer and say, okay, these are the line items of the issues that I came across, I told them the whole process and so forth, just to validate that I know what I'm doing ish. And it's not, not something that they did either, but it's just, this is the outcome of it. And then we have to work through the options together. So you take them along on the journey as a mechanic, which a lot of mechanics are not very expressible people. They're not people. They like to work on things and they're introverts. I'm an anomaly, as there's several other anomalies out there. But if you get over those anomaly barriers and being more of communicative, I want to say talkative, that's a little too much. But anyway, the person that can explain why the issue is, and this is a solution, without them feeling like they're being taken for a ride. And right now, everybody is price sensitive, and you have to look at that as a retail perspective out. Like, you got to be price sensitive when they're walking in the door of your shop. Don't have that $10,000, $15,000 bike up front. As much as you want to showcase those, it's not a good time. It's not the time right now. Those who are going to buy those are going to come in and ask for them. And you can show them a little boutique corner in the back, but you don't want to smack somebody walking right in the door that maybe their significant other just lost their job. They're here with their kids' bikes and couldn't figure it out because they've been in the garage for the last 3 hours. They're not mechanically inclined at all. And they're walking into the shop and they're basically ready for a fight, right? They're not happy about life, and they're bringing that right into your shop. Well, you can help them diffuse that by giving them a warm hug, maybe literally, and say, hey, you're in the right place. We're going to take care of you. We're going to listen, and we're going to make sure your bikes are taken care of and done right the first time. And if they make any kind of mistakes, but we're still human, we'll make sure it's done right, definitely by the second time. But in any case, those are probably the three major aspects of that kind of perspective and kind of deal of what's been my successes of what I do. Yeah, I have bikes all over the place, but I don't have overly price tag bikes up front. My business model is definitely not that. But hold on, we're going to get to the actual how does somebody venture what I am doing, because I've had several calls on this and I'm like, okay, I need to point somebody to the video like, okay, watch this. And if you have any other questions, then reach out and get involved with the NBDA, because they're going to help you out too. And they're conforming. They're not just for big shops. They're not for just independent bikes, brick and mortar stores. They are for mobile, and they're for little guys like me with a big punch. And therefore, that's a great resource for all of you. If you're listening to this and you go on, just, my shop closed down, I worked on bikes, or I want to do mobile, I'm thinking about that. This is a great way to do your homework before you take that big leap, and hopefully you have the better success of succeeding than failure, because there is a huge failure rate in bike shops, as we're seeing it unfortunately now. And even shops that have been around for a long time, have had a history and know what the hell they're doing, still may not survive. So this is what it is. Well, here I am, standing up, call to action, right? Talked about the NBDA, my impacts of there from Las Vegas and that kind of thing. And the retail portion of it, yes, it's dying. It's on life support. It's in the back, ER, not hazmat. What am I trying to say? It's not like dead, but it's definitely going to be in recovery mode for the next 3 to 5 years. So looking for those mid-range bikes for a volume sale is gone for a while. It'll come back like everything does, but a lot of things need to change first. And if you have a tune or a pulse of what's going on in the state of the state in your market, you'll definitely notice this too. And you've already shifted and pivoted as a bike shop. But just telling you, it's one of those things that, we're in some uncertain times. But in any case, there's some definitely positive things, right? And I'm going to go into what my experiences are with positive of my little bike shop. And yeah, I am a bike shop. For a while, I was like, am I really called a bike shop? Yes, I self-identify myself as a bike shop. Not your traditional bike shop by any means. But while I readjust my staging here, one of my trusted partners is these guys. They're definitely keep the wheels rolling. Literally.
Bicycle Wheel Warehouse in California has an excellent selection of wheels to choose from. They're pre-built, or also you can have them custom built up to various sizes. You can reach out to them directly if you have something unique like the 650 wheel or a different style hub. Therefore, it makes it an excellent bike wheel set company that actually provides good wheel sets without breaking the bank. You will find them being very trusted and true. They really hold up under a lot of different riding conditions and so forth. It takes the standard old school wheel building practices and puts them in a better format. But in any case, this is a wheel set you'll be really love to have. It'll perform for you for a long period of time, and the quality and the attention to detail is superb. You'll find information about this company in the description below, with also my personal coupon code. I hope you find a good wheel set where it works for you.
So being in retail for over 35 years, I've seen a lot of ups, downs, sideways, twists, and turns, right? From small shops to big shops, multiple locations, working for inventory management and that had connections with huge shops to small shops across the nation. And we are definitely in a awkward, weird place. And we find ourselves last year learning real quick that service is definitely going to be the driving point. Also, used bikes, parts, frames, forks, all that. Definitely a insurgence, if you will, because people are really leveraging that to keep costs down, or if they want to look into another project, but they're not really able to afford a $3,000 to $4,000 bike, then they'll look into the used. The very fortunate part aspect of that is in the United States. I know some of you are actually watching from out of the United States. We have a huge surplus of inventory, and that inventory from our buying, consuming economy and country, we just constantly buy, and a lot of that stuff gets shoved in garages. And that's where a lot of people are leveraging going to the garage, pull out that bike, get it tuned up, and they're going to commute to work or what have you. There also is a huge surplus of used market coming out inexpensively for a lot of shops to leverage, as well as consumers, to get a nice bike and still relevant today. And I can't tell you how many bikes I've worked on this week already, and it's Tuesday, that are older but so much relevant, and the customers are super happy to be back out on the road riding and feeling confident and feeling safe while they're riding. That's a huge aspect of it, and the service aspect of it is monumental. We're in a situation where that our expertise of just doing a fine adjustment on a derailleur to overhauling a headset to lacing up wheels to doing any of those aspects from easy to hard is becoming more valuable now to a lot of people, a lot of our customer base, as I call them, my community, because they're more than just customers. They're people that are avidly in the cycling, either it's just commuting or riding to school, to those who are leading group rides or part of charities or what have you. There's a huge umbrella that covers that. That particular community for me, though, is very impactful because it keeps me going in a positive direction. And because I feel like I'm contributing to their positive direction, which I'm a part of them moving the needle forward in a positive direction, if you get what I mean. In any case, it's so impactful of able to help somebody out that may have not ridden in a long time, or they're just stumped on some issue on their bike, and you're like, okay, let's give it a go, and we get it fixed and that kind of thing. So that particular insights and what have you to help driving your communities forward as a small shop is very impactful. It doesn't matter what your size is. You can go to a big chain store, and if you're getting that excellent, outstanding service from that service department or sales associate or what have you, that's uplifting. That's a positive direction. And there's a lot of chains out there that do that. And that's why they've had some huge successes within their community. And there's also the corporate stores, which they still have good people working for them. Don't get me wrong whatsoever. They actually have good people that have been around the industry and so forth. They landed a job with benefits. Good for them. That's great. And they are contributing. I mean, they're all trying to, like in the back, trying to help people out. They always have. But the corporate Kool-Aid try to make them just focus on making money, which really goes against the grain that the bike mechanics, we just want to fix stuff. And if they can't afford it, we'll just get it fixed anyway. And it'll pay for itself on the back end or what have you. That's how we work. But when you're looking at the corporate cookie cutter perspective of trying to narrate the cycling industry is no longer valid. It doesn't work. It doesn't compute. So they don't know what to do. They're basically going through their own recovery per se, and they're pulling every oh crap lever possible to try to keep their business going and that for it. I don't want any of them to fail, but they're unfortunately put themselves in this scenario where none of us seen this coming, and here we are working towards that. So I want to dive into the perspective of the bike mechanic in my shop and what I'm doing. It's like I've been telling you why I do it. I'm so impactful, be lucky to do it, and why it becomes very valid or valuable for my cycling community. Well, I've hit I've hit a couple nerves. I wanted to say nerves. I wanted to say I had a couple ideas for individuals out there, and they've reached out to me like I've implored before. Like, just want to get some ideas. Like, how do you? They have questions. They have questions, and I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do this from the front end to the back end. It's probably the easiest way to lay it out, and this is all on the cuff. So if I repeat a few things, I do apologize. I'll try to keep this direct as and to the point for those for our avid cyclists or just recreational riding, because it's very impactful to them as well as everybody else, and within the actual cycling industry. And when you're working through shops of any size and they fail and or they close, like corporate stores are pulling away, it's making a huge deficit. So the couple of individuals I talked to in the last couple of days that we're not preemptive, they just called me like, hey, I used to work in a shop, they just closed, or I'm looking to do a venture and I'm kind of nervous about these perspectives and that kind of thing. Well, we're going to get into that in a little bit here, but let's jump into the chat and acknowledge everybody that's actually jumped in and said hello. Oh, Clifton, thank you for welcome to the garage. Yeah, even my short shirt. This is from Gravel. I'm sorry, Gravel Threads, and that is an individual makes really cool designs. A former vet, and he found cycling to help him through his challenges. He's not a bike mechanic. He just loves to ride. He has some great art to go with it to support him with his ventures. I do have a coupon discount below in the actual comments. But yeah, he has several really cool shirts and that kind of thing. But that's part of the community. You don't have to actually be a bike mechanic or a sales associate or be in the industry for a long time. You can still be a part of the community and just come up with whatever that you can contribute. That kind of thing. Susan, yeah, good day to you. Thank you for chiming in and calling in from Canada. That's right. Oh, weather's starting to get better in your neck of the woods. Oh, it's beautiful. I have the garage open. It's gonna be in the 70 degrees today, Fahrenheit, not Celsius, because you'd burn your eyelids off. But anyway, that's what this guy's going through. But yeah, thank you for chatting in the comments there. 45 Graham from UK, from across the pond. Thank you for chiming in there. I hope it's a good day to you too. And got somebody here that's like evil. Oh, can't say. I'm sorry. Doing a 95 Trek single speed build. Ooh, yeah. Bike is path, lightweight trail, or light trail bike. Nice. Yeah, I mean, bike co-ops are huge and they're very relevant today, and they're going to be leveraged quite a bit. Also, charity bike shops. There's one, Better More Bikes in my neck of the woods, North Denver. A lot of people donate bikes there. They fix them up. And what's cool in their perspective is they actually pay they have old timers like me that volunteer their time. And they have a program where they pay kids to come in and learn how to work on bikes, learn how to work on being mechanics, which is really cool. So their charity, the profits, it's not profits, but the money that they make at the nonprofit goes towards paying those kids basically a salary, that kind of thing. Tim, welcome back to the garage. Oh yeah, talked about Parker bikes. Yeah, we have a running joke every time I mention it. But hey, it's where I came from. It's part of me. It's made me what I am today through my dad's influences and so forth. The Texas troublemaker. Hello from Texas. Welcome to the garage. Thank you for chiming in. And 65 Bugnut. Yeah, I hope Nebraska is getting a little warmer and not too dry for you. Let's see here. I want to ask if there's any Advantage of changing a 27-inch wheel to 700C wheel. Thanks. Well, the disadvantage is you got to get a different brake, and sometimes you'll have to span out the frame to accommodate a wider hub. But the advantages would be a lot more tire selection of choice, and also parts replacements. So those would be like the two for positive and negative, I would suggest there. But in any case, all right. All right. Thank you for Cliff. Thank you for joining in. Okay, so we're gonna get into the part of how do you be like a little like me? um, that's a loaded question. And you know, like here, I just verbally blow up when somebody asks me, "Oh, what do I do? I'm going to start a little shop." I'm like, "Oh my god, okay, let me tell you all the things." And to do it right, even in the garage shop space, get an LLCs, get insurance, get your tax license. You basically are doing everything as a general business, just without the brick and mortar. So you do still have to do that. Get a website, uh, build a Google business so people can Google you and know where you're at, and get posts on there and pictures, and fill all that stuff out, which I've done too. All this stuff is like, it seems hard at first, but once you get through it, you're done. And it's just the maintaining of that point there. The website I highly recommend, because that therefore people can really get a feeling of what your business is, because that's also what connects your Google account, your Google page, business page, to direct it to your website. Your website have a appointment calendar, a platform to help drive business from setting appointments for tune-ups and all that. Especially in my business is all appointment based. So I have a leveraged Calendly to do that, but I believe Google Calendars through the business platform, you can do the same now, which is monumental, huge lift. It just makes it easy to work out your week, control that flow, because usually it's just one person and you got to keep it manageable. So using the calendar programs to keep it manageable is a key. If you're a bike shop, use the management program to help predict your flow of inventory. I mean, you're just using, not inventory, but repair and service work. Because you already have a huge flow of people walking in your brick and mortar. You open that door and they come in and they drop stuff off for you to work on. Well, if you have a management program too, that enables people to set a time to be away from the bike, number one. And number two, that helps you as a business plan out that week. So if you know you have some pretty heavy lifting, big lift tune-ups coming up next week or the week after, you can adjust your schedule accordingly, and to have the right people do the right repair on the right day and get that service done back a little quicker, but more importantly, done right the first time. So from big to small, that's a great gold nugget to do. And I tell you, every bike shop's website part of like their service department, all of ours suck. I'm redoing mine right now, and I will share that when it comes to completion. But right now, it's flat. It's really confusing for a general consumer, and usually it's just a phone number or email. But if you plug in some kind of appointment based, which like I have done on mine, at least you can drive them to that direction. They can set an appointment and go from there. So that's huge. So that's a lot of the front end stuff. And then the back end, you got to get all the tools, and you got to figure out what niche you're going to be focusing on. And in small business, that's one of the things you want to do, especially if you're a garage mechanic, is find out what niche. Usually it's following your passion, but also it has to be a very valuable piece of, or missing piece in your marketplace. Like you can't just do mountain biking, all mountain bike stuff, when you're in the inner city where you may not see very many mountain bikes. So keep in mind, and you may have to be a little flexible of what you're doing, but at the end of the day, most of the mechanics just want to work on stuff. But you want to find a focus niche. My focus niche is mostly road and recreational. I don't do e-bikes. I'm not set up for insurances. That goes, if you're going to be doing e-bikes, you need to do, the insurance for that and get the proper tooling, the lift and all that kind of thing is at an expense. But if you find your niche and there's a demand for it, um, definitely go double down on that. And also leverage your partners in your community. Like me, I have Joshua Precision e-bike. That's all he does is e-bike stuff. I have a great rapport with him. I send him stuff all the time. Like, oh, I don't work on that, but I know somebody that's going to take care of you just as good as I will, but in the e-bike realm. Same thing for mountain bikes, same thing for other parts of it. I mean, unfortunately, as a small niche shop, you can't be everything to everyone. You have to really narrow it down. You can still find a very good success at that. And actually, you have better outcome on repairs and so forth, and also serving your community a lot better in that particular niche. So once you identify that and start doubling down and working on that. Okay, so you got the front end of it. You got your tools. You got the bikes to work on. And you're just getting the word of mouth out there, leveraging the good reviews on Google and that kind of thing. There's one missing component that a lot of us are definitely afraid of doing, because most mechanics are not extroverts, but in the ones that are, they already have these. Bike Farmer is one of them. I'm another, and there's a few other that are former mechanics or mechanics that like do okay on social media. And you don't have to be the full influencer like I am, or do podcasts and all that stuff. I just would implore you just to do 3-minute shorts or less on all the socials. What I do is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and whatever other ones you want to do. Keep them quick, dirty, quick, fast editing, all that. And just do whatever you're working on the stand today. Some little interesting thing that you want to share. You can do it faceless. You can do a full explanation. You can do however you want to do it. Overly edited, no editing, nothing, whatever. But be consistent. And if you consistently pushing those out, and you can tie those links to actually your website, because so when somebody goes to that Facebook page from your website, you have a current posting. That's the most valuable part of it. Okay, you're going, okay, really going down in the weeds on this a little bit, because this is what's going to drive your business going forward. You're going to drive a whole bunch of business going forward, because right now, Google reviews, bike shop near me, searches on Google is one way I'm getting a lot of service right now. The second, which has been really impactful, is from the socials. And the socials like, oh, I saw your video working on this thing. I want you to do my work. Put in perspective. I have people driving over 2 hours from north to south to have me work on their bikes. 2 hours to drop it off, 2 hours back, and 2 hours come pick it up and deal with me, and then 2 hours to go back home. How many bike shops do you think they pass on the way to come up to see me to have me work on their stuff? Okay, I've been doing it for a while, and there's a pretty huge impact there. And it doesn't do that out of the gate, but you'll find that niche of what you're working on. And a lot of you are out there that do a lot of avid cycling, and you go to some bike shops and you have just not the greatest warm and fuzzies, and you come across somebody that maybe an hour away, you're going to be more than happy to take that bike and drop it off, because you know it's going to be taken care of the way you want it to be taken care of, as well as the customer service level of it, and actually meeting the mechanic and doing those kinds of things. So it's huge. So those who are looking to go venture off into this, yes, there is a little bit of risk. And depending what you're doing, it might be a part-time start, like baby steps into it. Whatever movie that was, do it in baby steps. And this was all baby steps too. I had a full, pseudo part-time, full-time job at the time when I started doing this. And when I did the leap, I have not looked back. And I really enjoy doing, and it's always expanding and changing and twisting and turning and being weird and being great. And you have successes in areas where you never would have thought. And here I am telling you how to small shop out of your garage. And this could translate to a lot of other different types of industry. If you're into, making wood paddles, like Joe Channel up in Canada. I'm not sure he's watching today, but he makes paddles, but he likes riding bikes, and he has a mix of videos of both. But if you leverage the social media portion of it, and you leverage maybe the Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and leveraging the appointment base, people are going to feel okay dropping off their $3,000 bike for you to work on and come back a couple days later to pick it up. I have multiple customers like this, and they have multiple very expensive bikes, which sometimes, quite honestly, I get nervous working on. It's like, whoa, you just dropped off a $10,000 bike. Don't mess this up, Justin. Don't mess this up. But end of the day, though, they trust me, and of course, I do everything I can to make it be a positive experience for them for the riding and making sure their bike is ready to go. Right now, I have Trixie in the stand. That's not the name of the person that rides the bike. That's the name of her bike. She named her bike. And Lilac, I think I just worked on the other one that she worked on like last week. People are attached to their bikes to the point that they give them names, and they're part of an extension of themselves. And that is very impactful, that they really love riding so much they named their bikes. And I, more often than not, people have named them or given nicknames or something like that. It's an experience, and they enjoy that experience, and they want it to keep going. And if they have anything that's making a weird noise or it's not working, or they're getting a lot of flats or whatever the case may be, that's what we're here for. Now, at the end of the day, that's what we're empowering them to be able to ride, and whatever their needs need to be, either get out of their head or be exercise or save a little bit of money on gas, whatever it may be. That's what we're here for. And that's a huge impact for us as bike mechanics to the industry. That's why the service portion of it is becoming huge. And it's so much work right now that I've seen more often than not where we're hiring in the cycling industry is bike mechanics. We need bike mechanics. We need more. We don't have enough bike mechanics, and we'll train bike mechanics, at this point. And if anybody can turn a wrench and they want to get back into it, this is the time to do it. Not necessarily you're going to make a lot of money, no, but you're going to be making a decent living, and there's going to be consistency to it than years past. Well, a small business like this, you get the volume up and you offset it with some off-season sales for used, for parts and frames and so forth, so you can make your business viable throughout the year, whatever your seasonality is. Huge. Very huge. So being a small shop like mine, and we're facing, the dying retail on life support right now, which is going to be for a little while, because the K-shaped economy is not going away anytime soon. Gas prices don't seem like they're going to drop at all. People are still being laid off, and there's it's really hard to find jobs, including my wife. She's been looking, and it's really hard to find her PhD position out there right now. It's just hard. So a lot of people are in a weird bind, and not that any of us want to be here, but as bike shop people, as bike shop mechanics, we can take that rough day and make it a little bit nicer for them, enable them to go for a ride on a beautiful day like today, on a beautiful spring day. So those are the things that we really wanted to kind of bring forward and help out. And, also, I should actually mention this. One of my other trusted partners does chain waxing, and you can upgrade your bike to a new chain, because a lot of chains is a consumable. He has them from Shimano and SRAM and all that to elevate your ride. I need to get a sip of coffee. Why don't you listen to what they can do for you? Popular chain process or waxing of Vital Bike Chains provides brand names like Shimano, SRAM, and various others to be cleaned in a high detailed 5-step process, and then waxed to your professional level with either speed chip or endurance chip, which has been proven to have better performance and better lasting events and recreational riding. Takes care of the messy process, and all you have is the clean wax chain ready to perform. Check them out. Discount code with a link below. So thank you, Sunset Spokes, for chiming in the chat. I was just reading those over here. Well, I was trying to catch my breath and having a sip of coffee. I appreciate it for your sharing your experience sale experiences there. And I don't know how many of you have ever experienced, and I hope not very many of you. Let's put it this way. Um, I hope a lot of you haven't experienced a failed business. It's horrifying. I mean, my parent shop is just horrid, and even just being a part of a shop, and you may not, have skin in the game in the sense of you know, you have to face the bankruptcy part of it, or the shutting down of the failure of having a dream, and just at the end of the day, it's crushed, crumpled up, and it's so painful. So my heart goes to any of those who have suffered that. And my heart goes out to all of those who have lost their position of working in a bike shop, and now they're scrambling to find something, because most of us that work in bike shops are passionate about cycling, right? I mean, definitely not here for the pay. Definitely here for the passion and a little bit of discount. But other than that, though, it's just so painful to see those things. And I've been seeing, and people have been sharing with me, a lot of shop failures. And unfortunately, we're just gonna, like I said before, it's like your shop could have been in business for 40 or 50 years, and it just takes a couple bad decisions, or not have a great insight, or just dumb luck that it could knock you off, like take you out. And then all the people that work for you suffer too, because you were there to the bitter end. You're holding on, so maybe there's a lifeline, or something to bail you out. Maybe flip the switch and you go. If you haven't done a whole bunch of changes in the last 9 months, you may be up a creek. I mean, you have to pivot pretty darn quick. Granted, a lot of us shops have that ability to do some massive changes quickly and take the wins, but sometimes you get so under on either you're owing your vendors way too much money, you can't adjust those, the loan amounts, or you can't adjust that lease agreements, or any of those. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go bad sideways. Sometimes you just have to cash out, let the house win, and walk away, shake it off, go work at Walmart for a while. I don't know, just something either than other than just get your head out of it. I mean, it took me a little while to recover from what I did, but right now you do have a lot more options to get you back into the game, and be able to. That's if you feel like you want to. But what Sunset Spokes was just sharing is his shop that he worked at closed, and they filed for bankruptcy. I'm just highlighting here, but maybe I can just show it. I can. So his shop that he worked at, he was laid off, and you live on life support from unemployment, which is hardly nothing to get you. Then you're scrambling to find something. But then, love working on bikes, and then he's doing what he has now. Let's bring this up. Absolutely true. Let's see here. But as the lead mechanic who worked on both traditional and e-bikes, shops won't pay more than $21 an hour. That's hard. So back to the beginning of the show, I talked about some of the emailed me talking about a shop, corporate store that charged $450 for what I typically charge 200. And that particular piece of it, for that 200, it'll take me about 4 or 5 hours. So my take home is between 40 to 50 if I'm lucky, usually, because I putz around, and I really, I'm not a volume repair guy anymore. So that brings it down to more like a $30 an hour. But you got to keep in mind that $30 an hour pays for still the electricity, the garage door opening, tooling, all the accessories. My overhead is a lot lower, but I still have an overhead. And you calculate that $1,200 insurance cost over, 6 months, it's a couple $100 a month. So you got to think about that. But I'm happier of what I'm doing, right? Yeah, I'm having a joy of doing those things. And we're not alone. and I do have, more profitable, positive experiences, with flipping, refurbishing. I don't like using the word flipping, but refurbishing used bikes, and that kind of thing. And also having bikes, people bringing in multiple bikes. I had a family that dropped off 4 bikes, and I cranked through them at my pace. But at the end of the day, the ticket, some, paid a little more time. My time was paid into it a little bit more on others, but overall, it actually is pretty decent. And they still got the less expensive cost for them, but yet I still made more than I would have made if I worked at a bike shop that was making only $21 an hour, which honestly is not a livable wage almost anywhere in the States. Keep in mind on that. So anyway, it's an opportunity for somebody if they want to venture on their own. There's a lot of other barriers they have to deal with, personally, like health insurance and other stuff like that. But if you're able to have a significant other that has those benefits and so forth, it makes it easier. Or maybe just have that full-time job and you're just doing it on the weekends. But appointment-based system is a very viable business to get into. And people just love what I'm doing, which is crazy. And it's pretty impactful from you guys watching me and the positive influences I'm getting from my community, either on this social media or any others. Or when I did the call to action and asked for reviews for my Google business page, whoa, it was insane. I had like 10 or 15 reviews. They're just like, these customers I dealt with, but having them give such kind words was wow. Like, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing for now. It's just like I'm impacting a community. It's not just word of mouth, like, oh, I know a guy that's pretty decent, play on words of I know a guy bicycles, but to have them feel so impactful. I had one that was so impactful that when he dropped his bike off, he already referred me to other people to have me do stuff. He hadn't even gotten his stuff back yet. He doesn't know if I did a good job or not. But I was such a upfront impact on him. It's like, oh, I need to have my buddy reach out and see if he can help them out too. So there's a lot of people out there looking for good mechanics, working on bikes to take their time, listen to their needs, and get them back on the road, trail, or what have you, and be a part of their experience, be a part of that. And I feel so fortunate. I'll leave you on that. I'm so fortunate. Some of these people, they go travel abroad to do events, and they come back with stories, and you are part of their journey, right? You're part of taking care of their bike so they can do this thing, and positive, negative things happen. It's always a crapshoot, right? But it gave them the best opportunity of having the best opportunity to have a good time and a good experience. So that's just huge for all of us. So, any case, but yeah, if you're a small bike shop owner and you're digging your heels in and you're just trying to get through it, there's a lot of different things you can do, and you probably are leveraging them. And hopefully, you can find a solution for the now to keep you going and keep your staff employed. There's some successes out there and opportunities, but it may not be where you're looking. And definitely, if you're watching this, you're probably looking and scraping at everything possible. But the best resource I can drive anybody to right now, either in desperation or looking for a new opportunity of either opening or reforming or what have you, the NBDA is a very great resource, and it is a community, and it is growing much more now than ever, because we're all needing help of one way or another to help navigate our business going forward. So that's just a huge thing that we're trying to do, or they're trying to do. And being at the show, the first speaker, which is part of the NBDA, I forgot his name, but I do apologize. But the first thing that rolls out of his mouth is basically, there's no bailout. There's There's no cavalry to save us. There's no relief fund. We are it. Like this is it. We have each other, and we really need to double down on that and quadruple on that. And a lot of you in the chat, or a lot of you are bike shop, small, big, in between, also watching this and watch my channel. Which thank you for making me a part of your journey, and I really appreciate it. But all those out there, best of luck, and take care of those people, and take care of yourselves too. It's definitely go by that analogy of when the plane goes down and the air masks drop, definitely put yours on first. Take care of yourself, because if you're incapable and not functioning correctly, you're causing more harm in your business than anything else. So make sure you're in the right state of mind, get a good night's sleep, seek that therapy if you need to be, if it needs to be on a bike saddle or in a doctor's office, what have you. Make sure you take care of yourself, because you are basically worthless to everybody else until you are. And you can do so much positive going into any situation in a better situation than you are negativity. And there was a couple of talks about that, of depression and so forth, being small business owners, not related to just bicycle retail. It's just all retail or any business and so forth. We're in a place where keep a pulse on yourself and keep a pulse on those around you, and making sure, Bob the bike rep doesn't freak out and go off on some customer. Make sure they have some mental relief, because we're all under a lot of stress, and it could be work related, it could be personal home related, it could be anywhere in between, and that includes your customers. Make sure you're in tune to what they're talking about, and try to be the win, try to be the part of the solution, not part of the problem, with their experiences, and as well as how you're running your business. So there's a lot of resources out there, and the first stop would be probably NBDA, and go from there. And there's like People for Bikes, and you can talk to your local co-ops, you can talk to charity groups and so forth, and build your community, be a part of that. And I've enjoyed pretty much almost every day of doing this for the last 6-7 years. You have a couple of days that are rough, or trouble repairs, or a squirrely person that you have to deal with, or what have you. But my personal life, I feel like I'm part of something bigger than me. So, and thank you for being all a part of it. But yeah, let's jump in the chat real quick before we let you go. I have another podcast I need to listen to here to help me be a better person, to help those out there. Susan, thank you again for chiming in the garage. You guys are up north. That's right. A little bit warmer. Road Code. Got a mobile repair truck now. Nice. Drive to clients and e-bikes. Flat tire fixes. Nice. Yeah. You're helping. You're a great resource. Mobile that's hard work, honestly. I mean, there's only so much you can do, so much driving you can do. I mean, you will cap out. Therefore, I really highly suggest leveraging used out there while you're driving around. Pick up some used bikes, and then use those as like your extra income in the off season or just in season. Yeah. Oh, retail is dead. What do you mean? Basically, bicycle retail for the norm of bike sales, that part of the bike sale retail is stuck. And yeah, they are still selling some units out there, but not nearly as many or consistent, and it's a flood of it. So the retail aspect of it for here in the States, big ticket items are very hard. They're not selling as many. And since there's going to be a readjustment for that inventory, there's going to be a shortage. But right now you have a very aggressive market in that perspective, and retail, it's all about volume, and it's all about the volume of moving boxes of bikes. Just it's a volume thing. And if you can't keep up with the volume in your market, it's not gonna, happen. So, and then the price points go down. So you're doing more volume of bikes, but you're making less money. And that's another pinch. And that per square foot of real estate space in your retail space does not change with that. So it's more expensive. So what you're making the highest yield right now is in the service and the used. And I can tell you with my used market, you're making at least 20 to 30% more than you would sell a new bike for. Like, let that sink in. Like, your margin is so much significantly higher in the used. It will offset the time it takes to find those used, as well as having your mechanics get them prepared or yourself to prepare to sell it. The margin is so much bigger. And therefore, that's the win, where you can actually, have that pipeline. And when things change, eventually they'll change. And when the bike sells, people feel confident to buy new again and all that. You'll still have such best practices in your service department and also your used pipeline. You don't have to abandon it. You'll just add to it. And then you're still more of that full, bigger part of the community as in the cycling experience. So anyway, and small shops, I'll leave you with this too. On small shops, like myself, vendors won't sell to us because they're stuck in the old traditional way of not opening accounts. What I'm talking about is parts and parts for chains, cassettes. We have vendors that we would buy those from a traditional bike shop. And the thing is I'm really in it is for the labor portion of it, and the margin portion really is not really I'm shooting for, as in parts and accessories, because it'll be such a small volume. So even if you buy it from Amazon or Jensen's USA or 365 Cycles or anybody else, you're paying retail, but you look for the discounted and you just basically roll that price over to the customer. You still make the labor dollars on it, and actually that offsets anything. And also, having those commitments from those vendors are usually pretty hefty. It's less time I have to worry about them. I don't have to deal with a rep. I don't have to worry about $500 or $600 minimum orders to get free freight. Really, it's the sanity tax as I look at it. And you can still make a little bit of money on it, depending. And you can source parts like cables and housing and chains to a little bit lower price point. So you're still making a margin on it, but not nearly as much. But you don't need to, because your overhead is way lower. Keep that in mind. And then you don't have the whole extra, accounting and all that I have to deal with those vendors. You just buy what you need, which you're supposed to be doing anyway in this scenario anyway. And that really just forces there. So you can do a bike shop out of a garage without having to have any vendors. I don't have any vendors. I do have a couple of trusted partners. One is Contito Road, which does Connex chains and Mariposa product line with lubes and so forth. You can reach out to them and set up a wholesale account if you're a bike shop like me. Also, Bicycle Wheel Warehouse, which is another trusted partner, where you can get you set up, or even use my discount code of 25% off of wheels. That's your margin right there. And you can get set up on wheels to refurbish that classic road bike with rim brake, or mountain bike with rim brake, or even the newer stuff with through axle. Some of the stuff is actually hand laced too, which is good. And then I have Vital Bike Chains, Bill. He just mentioned in the chat there, he does pre-wax chains. You can leverage him. Instead of you have to do all these different flavors of waxes in your own shop, you maybe just need to do one flavor, and all the boutique-y other flavors, you can go through him, that kind of thing. So I don't have vendors in the sense of like J&B, QBP, BTI, KHS, which is now done, and a few more of them will be closing or really reorganizing. And they are, when I had their experience at the CABDA, you could tell that they're desperately freaking out and they don't know what to do. And they're not looking at options to really help what the new insurgence is of small bike shops, mobile shops. And the requirements of that are retardedly stupid. Sorry to be blunt, but they're telling you that you need to be like a VeloFix and buy yourself a $80,000 to $120,000 vehicle and tool it up to drive around. And basically, at the end of the day, you're paying them to do that. Like, there's not enough volume to offset that at all. Or those mobile services would be so absurd. So if you have an individual, like there's a few, I'm sure Sunset Spokes like bought a van, less than that, tooled it up, and stuff already has in the garage, modified it himself, and not had to buy into the franchise of it, and just did your own thing, which you can do, and you have a Google page, business page, you'll be just as impactful. And or you get yourself listed on like Bike Book and other places like that, which is free, and then I'll drive business to that if you want to do the mobile. Um, I like to just doing out of the garage because I don't like driving around much anyway. I do have a license, I swear. And I just don't want to, I did a little bit of it and I was like, no, this is not for me. What puts me in the best place to do the best work is being in my own space where I have all the stuff accessible, which is really hard to fit in a van. And then time component, you give me more time to do something, you're going to have a better tune up at the end of the day. Nothing against mobile at all whatsoever. You guys do an excellent job of things you do, and you're very valid into all of our communities. It's just for me, it just makes a little more sense to put me in a garage and let me do my thing and crank my tunes and figure things out. And if it comes get something weird, I'll go have lunch, take a nap, come back at it refreshed, and get things done right. Hopefully the first time. In any case, awesome stuff. All right. Before I jump off, I'll jump in the chat, acknowledge all you guys, Sunset Spokes. Thank you for chiming in. Oh yeah, 2008 Tahoe. Nice modification there. Oh, thanks, Scott, for chiming in. He's one of my community members locally. A tune-up can make up several hours. Let's just put this up there. Make up several hours. Yeah, thank you for the kind words there, Scott. Another kind words I've gotten is like, you're an artist. I'm like, how's that really? Even though I did go to art school, which kind of explains a few things, but personality wise, anyway, yeah, it's a craft. It's like you do things, and if you love what you're doing and given the proper environment to do it, you will do it really well. So for me, that's in my garage. I got my own space, get my time, and get my that's my happy place, and I will crank out some of the best repairs have you seen probably on my channel, like detailing frames and all that stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely, there's a lot of goodness out there. Oh, Michael, you have a question, your opinion on government crackdown on e-bikes. I mean, is it really a crackdown or an attack? I don't know. Well, it all depends what you're looking at that. Because if you're looking at the full throttle, 28 mile per hour, faster e-bikes, those are motorcycles. That is not an e-bike. Most bike shops, that's big conversations we've been having on NBDA lately. It's like, we are thinking a bike has pedals on it and it's an assist, not actual throttle. Although those are fun, but there definitely needs to be some legislation driven by the actual cycling communities, which People for Bikes and NBDA are working to do that because they have the legislation power, especially with the People's for Bikes. It's too broad when the local governments are like big hatching it. So we're trying to be interjecting and more thoughtful legislation. And that is my very small, not knowing anything about it perspective. But we can do better. And there's a lot of things that need to be done. And a lot of it falls on the shoulders of bike shops, unfortunately, because we have to educate. Education later is on us. I had to talk to like some friends of mine, like they're going to get like 2 little full throttle e-bikes for their 2 boys, rambunctious boys they are. And I'm like, not a good idea. And I just sat down with them like, let me paint you a picture. And it was, kind of graphic, but with your little guys, they don't need that. They just need to get on a bike and ride and pedal themselves to wear them out. And they're like, oh, good point. We're not going to get those. It's just dangerous. And that kind of thing. So it does rely on us as a community too, to educate those parents because the kids are crying for them. I want that full throttle little bike. And you're like, No, you're going to fly out in the middle of traffic and nobody's going to be able to hear you because it's the motorcycle moto thing, and you're going to get smashed or hurt somebody else, most likely yourself. And you're probably not wearing a helmet either. So those are the things. So talking about legislation on that is a hot topic. There's a lot of room for growth. Let's put it there. And it does need to be addressed. However you feel about it, it does need some help there for sure. Midhead Matt, thank you. Welcome to the garage. Yeah, people don't have as much liquid cash these days, especially when they're paying what we've been paying at the grocery stores lately. It's like, whoa, why is that $2 more? I mean, for a can of beans, stuff like that. It's just nuts, ridiculous. So anyway, that's what I was trying to. Is like my topic. You're trying to like, why is retail dead? There's a lot of parts of it, and it's slow. The retail parts of it are slow. Bike sales, for most part, of sales. E-bikes are still selling, but not nearly as the volume. Case in point, Porsche's not doing them anymore, that kind of thing. Not that Porsche sold very many of the e-bikes, but anyway, got myself a Porsche e-bike. That's the only thing I can afford. Yeah, I don't have the $80,000, $150,000 to put into a car. Anyway, great chat. Hopefully you got some insights there. Hopefully this directs some people in the right direction. Hopefully this, hope people are able to do good work, people. You already are. You guys are not alone. Make sure your mental health is checked. We're going into the season. It's going to be a furious, busy one for the service part of it. I have tune-ups stacked up to my ears and super busy and carving out time. But this is my mental health here. As you're listening to it, as I'm verbalizing, take an hour out and do what you need to do. And for me, it's helping my social community of bike shops that are tuning in and people that are avid cyclists that wants to hear why are we so crazy or vice versa or whatever. But yeah. Hey guys, here we are, and hope everybody has a wonderful day. And thank you for all of you chatting in. If you're watching this on replay, please feel free to keep the conversation going with the comments below. You'll find information in the descriptions as well. And to help out my trusted partners, which they all need help as well as myself, you go to iknowaguybicycles.com under the partner page and just a partner page, and you'll find some good discount codes that are from me through them to get bike chains, wheels, some other stuff, cool t-shirts. In any case, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If it's Tuesday, it's Shop Talk Tuesday. Oh, that's right. I was going to have a fluff up AI of the week. This is funny. If I could find it. Which one is it? Let's see here. Yeah, this is a funny one. Now, take a hot second, put that wrench down, and look at your phone or what have you. What's he working on? Looks like he's working on the chainstay. I love the AI visuals. So this is like, I mean, I use it all the time for like AI stuff to help me sound better in emails and all that. But when it comes to the video production, they have like, oh, do you want to make a video? I'm like, sure. And it comes up with these funny ones. There's one other one, which is, let's see. This one was pretty interesting too. Ranch life. This one is not as bad, but I think that chain is like a motorcycle chain. What they're like cutting into. This must be like for you, Bill, a vital bike chain. Yeah, let's get that. I got the product. I'm making some wax chains. Bam! Your bike is now complete. Yeah, I just like that fun of it. I mean, come on. It's all about fun, right? Anyway, it just makes me smile. Oh, Joe, you did finally come in. Yeah. Oh, thank you for chiming in, Joe, from Joe Channel. He's brother up northern up in Canada. I don't know how to say that without sounding weird. But anyway, hope you're having a great day. Hopefully the weather's getting nice for you so you can get some outdoor riding. That's not free. He's a battle axe. I've seen some of his videos. He'll layer up in like freezing temperatures and just go out for a ride. That's like all those Canadians do. I'm a fair weather rider myself. But all to you guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. All you out there, have a great time. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. And yeah, keep the conversation going. And feel free to share this with your cycling communities, Facebook pages or whatever. Yeah, if anybody in your circles are like looking to do some service and want to do venture on their own, have them watch this podcast. They're more welcome to reach out to me, but first, probably just reach out to NBDA first and kind of see, and anything else from my perspective, I'll be more than happy to chat. I'm here for my community, and you guys have been here for me, so thank you all for hanging out with me in the garage, and we will see you next time. Sunday morning is my Sprocket and Coffee. I just talked about the industry news opinion piece, and if it's Tuesday, Shop Talk Tuesday. Again, everybody have a wonderful day. Oh, how do I move that? Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, no, there it is. You guys have a wonderful day. Oh, greetings to you too from Estonia. That's awesome. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. There's another chat that came in. Yeah, that's a box of wax, Bill. That should be almost derogatory, right? That's a box of wax. I got to go work on a 2002, 2003 S-Works.